conversation between life and acting.
What a track to wake up to in the morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio Morning Podcast. Pretty stoked for today, Joey.
Yeah, I hear we got a little trip down memory lane.
Well, let's just put it this way. You're not the only Joe on the show today.
Dang. Those are big shoes to fill.
Well,
Joes are typically pretty cool guys.
you know what? In my experience, Joes have become some of my best friends in the entire world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And as good looking as you are, Joey, I would like to introduce our guest today. One of the best looking human beings on the planet, Mr. Joe Laux. I still have the music going for some reason. There we go. Yay! How many sound effects can I play? Hello, Joe.
How are you?
Joe Laux is a very good friend of mine from college, and he's also a financial planner extraordinaire. So I believe Joe's in this place right now where he's like, because I'm a financial planner, I'm not sure I'm allowed to laugh. Like, I'm not sure if that's. Are you trying to stay quiet for the kids? What's going on? Are we too early here?
No, we're good. We're ready to rock.
No, he's on like beach vacay vibes over there.
No, see, I think what's happened is Joe's already made a lot of money this morning. He's just been over there just like making money, and so he's like, I'm busy making money, man. What am I gonna do? Joe, what's up, dude? How's life for you?
Life has been pretty good. It's been a pretty crazy year for our business. So between that and personal and family and kids and pandemics and all that, it's just kind of crazy.
Yeah, and I know that you are in the middle of finances with people, and you're a wealth manager. So you're somebody who really takes people under your wing, and they trust you, and they so all the feels that all the people are feeling, I'm sure they bring your way right now because you've got their finances. So that's a lot of additional pressure, I'm sure.
Imagine that people have a little bit of emotion about money.
Yeah. So yeah. Wow. What an interesting time. So I wanted to bring Joe on actually onto the show specifically because of his financial prowess. And I know a lot of our listeners are entrepreneurs, or at least you should be considering yourself to be an entrepreneur, because if you are an actor, if you're an artist of any kind, you are an entrepreneur. It means you run your own business, and so you need to figure out what to do with money when you're successful. But I would say ideally, the best thing to do would be to figure out what to do with your money before you have money, actually, and start the right habits in place. Would you agree with that, Joe?
Absolutely. I think having that end in mind, whether it be for an investment goal, savings goal, or just how you run your own practice. And when I say practice, meaning even as an actor, it's your practice. It's a business.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we can kind of dig into that a little bit.
You know, one of my favorite things, and we sat down as a family with Joe, and one of my favorite things that you said to us was, it was something like, it was this shocking statement. I'm gonna miss it here a little bit, but the idea was, essentially our goals were our goals, right? It was like, you know, if you wanna buy the thing, or you wanna do this or that, like, I'm not saying not to actually. As your wealth advisor, I'm telling you, you actually should do those things that you want to do. I just want to set you up in such a way to protect you and also get you to those goals. Is that right?
Absolutely. I think that, you know, so much of the old saying of the keeping up with the Joneses happens all the time. I've got physicians that make a lot of money, and they're so worried about what's going on next to their buddy in the surgery room. And then I've got people that are not making a lot of money that actually are the best savers on the planet. So I think that it's got nothing to do with how much you make. I think that your goals are your goals. And I think having those in mind, then you're not trying to keep up with other people. And that's a huge thing that I'm constantly battling with, of this image that people try to portray with money. And it's sad to see. So.
Yeah. So I know you've had a lot of success in this arena, and I'm very proud of you, by the way, as my buddy. But Joe's been very successful because he's helped a lot of people with their goals and with their finances. So do me a favor, Joe. If let's say we're going to sit down with somebody new, What does that conversation look like when you ask them about them? Because I felt like that was the main thing that I felt really connected to you, was when you, even though you knew me, you sat me down with my wife and you helped us evaluate our situation, our family, and really asked us some of the like deeper questions that I think maybe we hadn't asked ourselves yet. So what does that process look like when you sit down with somebody? Thank you, Brian, or is that Joey?
I was really trying to keep. I don't have a way to mute my microphone over here.
Just go like this. Just hold it up. And be like, I'm about to open my mic. Actually,
Okay.
bubble water. Okay, good. All right. So, yeah. So, what does that process look like? Let's say you're going to sit down with somebody like I don't know, Joey, who's another Joe. A really good-looking kid. Obviously, you can see him.
We both have short hair.
And I don't know, Joe. Cool. This is gonna blow your mind. Joey Sweeney is single.
He's single.
Can you believe this?
I mean,
this is a segment.
So crazy.
This is a segment they do on the show. Every morning.
I actually, it blows my mind that Joey is single. He's one of the best-looking people on the planet, other than you, Joe, who's taken. So it's like, this Joe's taken. This Joe's available. And I mean, the dimples coming out of this kid are just unbelievable. So let's set this kid up here for some wealth management, and the idea being like, you know, because obviously the girls are going to be lining up. So
obviously, yeah.
So when they do, we just need to protect Joey from all those women that are just knocking down the door. But for real, no, I'm kind of kidding there. But when you sit down with somebody, what would you? You know, what are some of those like deep questions you want to ask to help us get to laying down a foundation of good habits?
Well, you know, I think that like we started off with, everybody's kind of in their own spot. And so usually what I'm trying to figure out is, what are they trying to accomplish? You know, what is their end in mind? Is it retirement? Because quite frankly, anybody can retire today. It just may be for 12 seconds. You know, I don't know. And it kind of depends on what they're trying to accomplish, whether it be for family goals, personal goals, or whatever the like. So I think that starting with where are you trying to get to is every part of the conversation. And then from there, you kind of back into it. It's kind of, what have you done up to now? And what are the pitfalls? What are the good things you've done? Pros, cons, and just kind of get a foundation of where their understanding is and what they know about. So a lot of what I do is education. You know, I think our industry, unfortunately, is fraught with a lot of salespeople, if you will. And I think that that's the problem, is that if they come in with, whether it's an advisor or a salesperson, they're coming in with their mindset, then that's not going to help. Whereas if you come in with what, like you said, what's going on for Joey, or what's going on for Matt and Leanne, or what's going on for Brian, it really depends on them, and it's their own goal, and that's all that matters. I remember I had a couple that came in one time and they don't have kids. And so this is obviously a pre-COVID story, because they were people that like to go on cruises a lot, and that was their thing. And so when it came to what are your goals, and they said, well, we like to go on cruises. And they came in for the part of the meeting where it was a recommendations, and they were just, I could tell that one of the individuals was very anxious. And I was like, let's just pause. What's going on? And he goes, well, I'm just afraid you're going to tell us we can't go on cruises anymore. And I said, no, that was what you told me was your goal. I put that right into the plan. And it's just like, you know, if that's what you want, that's your thing. And so we got to back into those goals. And I think that that's what's the most pressing.
And let me tell you how good Joe Laux is here over at Silverhawk. So he took that idea and he said, here's the thing. Here's what I want you to do. Save your money, because there's probably a pandemic coming very soon. And then you can buy cruises on the cheap and go on cruises for the rest of your life for basically 25% off.
Yep.
Brilliant, Joe. Brilliant. See, when you work with a financial advisor,
those guys own 6 cruise lines now, just so everybody knows.
Very good. Okay, so Joe, I know it's tough. It's Joseph, Joe, Joey. You go by all of them. So does this one. So he's gonna have to be today. He's gonna have to be Joey. You're gonna have to be Joe.
All right.
Okay. So Joe, I did want to just rewind here a bit and go back down memory lane, because you and I believe, had, for me, one of my most epic fails but also something I'm the most proud of. You know exactly what I'm talking
Can I
about.
throw it down? Can I say it?
Oh,
Can I say
sure.
the
Go
words?
ahead, Bri.
Wait.
Sorry.
I was gonna put you on.
Okay.
camera.
All right.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Come on,
We're
man.
just. I'm super psyched about.
Do
this.
it, baby. Do it.
Okay,
Here you
ready?
go.
Do I have permission?
Go. Yeah, go.
Ice cream boys.
And we had to say it that way because we decided to do Ice Cream Boys with a Z.
With a Z.
So
Yeah,
that was.
I don't know where the Z came from.
I don't either. I don't either. It was a little bit Tupac, I think.
All I know is I just wanted ice cream all the time, and you would drive up in the ice cream van, and I was like, yes, this is like epic.
Matt drove an ice cream van.
Yes,
You
they
don't even know
did.
this story.
He
Okay.
doesn't know. Yes, they did.
Oh, we can't see your phone on that.
I can't see it. Dang. There's the shirt.
He's got the shirt
Ice
still.
Cream Boys,
oh
Joe,
my
there it
gosh,
is.
I remember those.
And I have one that says Ice Cream Boys Matt, or I had one before Leanne purged it out of my house.
Yep.
I remember the shirt, and you told me a little bit, but
I was sad
You
when,
should still
when I
tell
came.
our
I was like,
listeners.
babe, where's my
So
shirt?
good.
Where's my Ice Cream Boy shirt? She's like, I threw that thing away.
oh,
That should have been a non-negotiable not to throw out.
I thought it was known because I wore it all the time. Actually, that's my problem. Yours is still in mint condition. I started using mine to like.
No. To be clear, I have like 5. So I've
Okay.
got one that's got no sleeves. That's for like painting. And then I've got one that's like for yard work and
Got
stuff. And then, so they all have their purpose.
And
Dang.
they hung up alphabetically ordered too, probably in your closet. So we start this business, okay? Joe and I, we have this idea, and so here's the entrepreneurship. We're in college. We got this great idea. We're like, okay, what do college kids need? Snacks. We're gonna start up this business, Ice Cream Boys. We're gonna sell ice cream and other goodies that we all like from our childhood to the college kids. Brilliant idea. Truthfully, Joe, if we knew what we know now and we actually went backwards and tried to start that, we would probably be the next Ben and Jerry, actually, because it's not a terrible idea.
I'd say we'd be more like one of the food trucks that's on TV now, because there weren't food trucks back then. That was kind of the thing.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. But we're also like, you have to imagine, you and I were going to expand. I mean, we were going to go global. We were going to find it. I mean, our product is going to be at every store.
You guys were going on
worldwide.
Shark Tank.
100%.
That was happening. That was
100%.
happening.
Yeah, Shark Tank didn't exist. If it did, we would be like dun 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 dun, dun. And the sharks would be like, so it's just an ice cream truck, right? And we're like, yeah. I mean, right now. So what do you want the $100 million for? So we can feed our friends. I don't know.
and then Kevin would be like, "All right, let me tell you a story.
I'm out.
You're gonna take this business behind the barn and you're gonna shoot it."
It's pretty much what happened. Yeah.
The one thing I know for sure, though, is that Joe would have known the numbers, because I think I would have shown up and they've been like, well, what's this business worth and what's all that? And Joe, off the top of his head, would have known the number. I would have been like, I don't know.
It makes people happy.
So here's a problem, right? So Joey or Brian or whoever, right? We're in college and whatnot, and we don't have a lot of money usually. Mm-hmm. So what happened is we started selling to our own friends, but it turns out our friends didn't have a whole lot of money all the time. So we would just give it to them. And so it turned out we had like a real negative business. Like we would buy stuff and then give it away, which is nice charity, I guess, for college kids, but it didn't turn into a great business.
I don't think we capitalized on the charitable deduction there. I think that we more cannibalized the business.
Oh, that was great. That was great. We cannibalized it. I get what he did there. We ate it up.
I'll tell you, I was very happy that you allowed people to do that, because I was one of those people.
You got what was your favorite? What was your favorite thing out of the ice cream truck?
Wait. Time out. Does Brian's snack addiction go all the way back to Ice Cream Boys?
Oh, it probably goes down to childhood.
Is that what
it goes
started
way
it?
beyond Ice Cream Boys, way beyond Ice Cream Boys. Yeah.
But maybe we did. Maybe we did start
like,
you off on the really
genuinely.
bad.
I think-
path.
Well, I can tell you that it's a safe no, because I'm not a huge ice cream guy.
Oh, okay. So what was your favorite?
Whoa. We had lots of treats on there.
Thank
It
you,
was
Joe.
just not
Thank
ice
you.
cream.
It's true,
But
but
shelves and
Big nerds and
I apologize. I didn't mean to devalue your business. I know it is still a back dream here that might just pop
Like
back
literally,
up.
Joe and I went down to wherever the ice cream truck warehouse place is, and we would pick out what we wanted, and we would go and we would get it, and we would stock our truck, and we would have inventory, and then we would blow our inventory.
So I don't even think we got to this point in the story. But how did you manage to get your hand on an ice cream truck?
That's a really good.
Whoa. It didn't start as an ice cream truck. Can I tell this part?
Please, Joe, go. Your memory's better than mine. You've probably got more details.
We didn't really have any money, and so we started looking, well, what can you do? And so we found this white beat up van way out in like East Mesa, and we drove out there. We barely had enough gas to get there, let alone get it back. And so we get out there, and the thing's just falling apart. The sides are coming off on the inside. It's just nasty. And we're like, we'll take it.
That's our baby. She's the
my
one.
gosh.
She's the one. We want her. Yeah, absolutely.
And then Matt's mom, I think it was, we were asking people about what color should we paint it. And I remember your mom had done some research that yellow and blue had this attraction when it's food. And so we're like, all right, I guess we can paint it yellow and blue.
There's our colors.
So we did.
We don't care how bad it looks.
Well, I'll tell you, you couldn't miss it. That was the thing.
Well,
so
that's
you
true.
heard it coming. You're like, okay, there's that
Well,
ice cream truck.
and here's the thing. My mom, she was allowed to have an opinion because she had stake in our company. I don't know if you remember, but my parents gave us a little loan. It was probably like $2,000 or something like that to help us with the van and the renovation of the van. And the paint, and by the way, the $2,000 covered all of that.
Okay,
so
so
that's how cheap the van was.
So just curious here, like they were pretty proud of that investment, I bet, by the end, especially now. I don't know. Here's the thing. No matter whether it went negative, positive, like to see your son and his best friend at the time doing that, like that's pretty sick.
They probably were very proud. They just
Yeah.
kept that pride to themselves.
Yeah.
And didn't share it with me. The only thing they really told me about was the lack of return on their investment.
The ROI was a little lacking.
It was about as negative as our inventory was.
Yep.
But yeah.
It was a good time. I think it taught a lot about, it's funny because it taught a lot about entrepreneurship, and it really gave us kind of a foundation of all the things that you don't think about. Like, now granted, we had to do different things there because of liability, and we had to go down to do you remember going down to the city of Phoenix? And here we are, two college kids, and we're like, we want to get a license to have this van to sell stuff out of. And they wanted to know everything. And we're like, we just wanted to sell stuff to college kids. And we had to get licenses and insurance and all this stuff that you just don't think about. And so it did teach a lot about early business, and I'm thankful for it. Of course, the ROI was not there. You're absolutely correct.
But if you think about the ROI on our knowledge base, actually, we made out on the deal, because for a couple $1,000 investment from my parents and you and I putting in the blood, sweat, and tears that we did. I mean, we drove the neighborhoods and we tried to sell the kids. We tried to build relationships. You know, we did learn about inventory, and we learned what worked and what didn't work. We learned how hard it is to be partners, how tough it is to commit to even going out and doing the work every day when you don't have to. You know, no one's telling you have to go today, and so that's really hard. Even shutting down the business was really hard, and kind of going through those numbers and making that decision was tough. And coming up with I love what Joe said there, because I forgot that that's something I say all the time now, but we were already doing it back then. He said, what can we do? We had this idea. We didn't have anything. And we said, what can we do? So we end up selling my parents on the idea. We sell his parents on the idea. We sell ourselves on the idea. We sell our friends on the idea. And we made something out of nothing. You know, and so in that case, I'm like super proud of those days, super proud of the T-shirt. It's really sad my wife threw mine away. I wish I had 5 of them. I don't know how Joe got 5. I think I had 5. I probably lost all mine in college. That's who I was in college. Speaking of me in college, so we joke that my wife is the beneficiary of Joe Laux' hard work. because Joe, if you look at him, you'd never know this. He is like one of the most neat people you ever know. So honestly, like and not even, this is not a sales pitch, but it kind of is. I would not want my money to be with anybody but Joe, because he knows how to line things up. I mean, he's if you walk into his house, like, it's going to be so organized, it's going to drive you crazy if you live with him in college. And so so he but for real, like, he was extreme minimalist.
Is that your foreshadowing?
Yeah, extreme minimalist here, and I was just like college, wanting to just be a slob, like, just didn't care about anything. And so little things, like, I would leave the fork in the sink and Joe would be like, Matt, we need to have a talk. And of course it was way worse than the fork, but the fork, like, anything would set us off. And him and I were, and what's awesome though is we came to this happy marriage because we lived together several different places. We kept moving together despite our differences. We loved each other beyond that. And it was really cool because he taught me a lot. I probably taught him a bit about relaxing and being a little more chill than he was, you know, and we got to this place. But now you guys are now the beneficiaries also of the other side of that, because they're hearing from me, guys, you can't leave a fork in the sink. Like, what is going on? Like, this place is not your dorm room.
Heard it multiple times. So thanks a lot, Joe. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You bet. It was a lot to turn that piece of rock into a stone, and a nice piece of statue there.
Yeah, for sure. So Joe, do you have, let's say, what would be, if I were to say, okay, I'm listening to the show, I'm interested, I like what you got to say. What are some takeaways I could take away today if I'm just Joe on the street?
Average Joe.
Not average. I hate the term average Joe. I think that's
Why?
it. I don't know, because you're not average.
What?
There's no Joe I
knows
know
a
that's
Joe.
average.
That makes sense.
Okay, that's fair, and I appreciate the respect you're putting on the name. But like I think of like Average Joe's, the gym from the movie Dodgeball, and they're not average.
Okay, all right,
You know?
all right.
They freaking took down a whole.
Hey,
nother
don't you
gym.
dare defend
Yeah.
Joey's name ever again.
My bad, Doug.
Don't you ever defend his name. Okay.
Here's the
Or
thing.
any other
It
name.
would be like I just found out recently, and I'm sure you guys all knew this way before I did. I just don't follow stuff on news or social media, that the name Karen was a bad thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sucks,
Like you don't want
sucks to be a Karen right now.
Yeah, and I'm like,
It
that
really does.
So that's a real bummer. Like, there's a lot of Karens
That's a
out there
real
that are probably
bummer.
really nice people, and it just stinks for those people. Like, oh well, you're a Karen.
I've literally seen it happen. Someone's like, "Hey, my name's Karen," and it's like, "Oh man."
Yeah. Okay, so if you're an average Joe, then, and not like an extraordinary Joe, like the ones that I know. No, but if you're listening and you're going, okay, I would love to have some tips, like some takeaways that I can do even before I would call a professional like yourself over at Silverhawk. What would that advice be, Joe?
Sure. So I kind of thought through this, and I think that it doesn't. And so these tips that I'm going to give, it doesn't matter if.
Wait, you've got a list? You have a list of tips?
Imagine that.
How many? Are they in order for a particular reason? Of course.
Yeah.
Are they printed, highlighted, bold?
This is a.
I knew it. All right. So how many are there, Joe?
All right. We can go with 5 or 10. I've got 10 if we want.
Let's do 10.
Easy.
Ladies and gentlemen, the top 10 financial advice tips from Joe Laux over at Silverhawk. Number 1.
All right.
Or number 10. The number 10 tip. Let's go backwards. So the number 1 is going to be the most important tip is going to be number 1. Let's go from number 10. So it's like, all right, this is kind of a cool thing. Fine. But then when we get to the number 1, it's like, you better be doing this. Like, the number 1, trust me, if you do this, your life will be good.
I don't know if I have them in that good of a
he's like, I just put 10 down.
This is called improv, Joe. We're gonna pretend like you're an improviser. Okay, here we go. This is the top 10 financial tips from Joe Laux over at Silverhawk Financial. You can find him at silverhawk.com. Is that right?
It's silverhawkfinancial.com.
I knew it, and I second guessed myself.
You should really just hit the shameless plug button.
It is www.silverhawkfinancial.com. www.silverhawkfinancial.com. That's www.silverhawkfinancial.com. And you can find 10 tips right here on this show. Here we go.
All right. So I'd say first off,
Number 10.
surround yourself with the right people.
Surround yourself with the right people. Number 10. Woo! All right, talk about that one a little bit, Joe.
So this can be people that are mentors, or like you guys, you're training, you're teaching people to be the next best at what they are. It's the same thing in anything. So with finances, I think you surround yourself with whatever success looks like to you. And I say it that way because everybody's vision of that is different.
Boom.
Good one. Okay, very
That's good. Shoot.
Okay. Number 9, we'll say,
Number 9.
is what we already said earlier, but it's start with the goal in mind.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So what are you trying to do? I think that money is a means. I don't think it's the reason to do things. So your family, occupation, recreation, those are the what. Those are the why. And money is just a how.
Love it.
Okay. I've got one for couples. So I don't know if you'd put that somewhere in the list or for, if people are already married, but I think this is a good one for couples. And it is to have the discussion and have almost like a allowance, if you will, because what one spouse might think is something they should spend money on, the other might not, and that can cause a lot of fights. So to have almost like your own, here's my spending budget, or here's my money that we can put on the side, that's super important.
So, so that's like, and potentially that conversation kind of goes for whoever your, like whatever your relationship is right now, that is your thing, right? Wouldn't you say? So let's say for perhaps like Joey and Brian's dad is not married right now, so like they could have a conversation, the three of them. Then Joey and Brian maybe are the tightest relationship in their own life. They could have the conversation right now, just knowing, hey, just so you know, here's where my money's at. Here's where things are going. Here's what I'm doing in my life. Here's what I'm doing in my life, and we can get on the same page. And then of course, if you are legally bound to another human being, then really knowing and having everything above board, so that because you can't. Would you agree that you can't expect somebody to live up to an expectation that you never told them about, right? So if I have these hidden dreams and wishes and goals that I never shared with you, then all of a sudden it's like you're disappointing me, but it's really not your fault because I never even told you how you could possibly make me happy.
It's basically the expectation of you putting the fork in the dishwasher. We never talked about it.
That's true. It was never going to happen.
And therefore, that's why that discourse started.
That's right.
That's why we fought.
But you know what?
Somebody got Matt to blush on this show.
You know what?
This is cool.
I
love this.
Yeah, Matt.
I'm not the only one blushing on this show. It's great.
Okay, so number 8 is have the let's just say have the hard conversation.
I think that was number 7.
Or no,
that's number 7.
Oh, it's number 7. Okay, so I have number 10 is surround yourself with good people. Number 9 is with the end in mind, goals. What was number 8 then?
We could distill it down to have the conversation about expectations.
Have the conversation about expectations. Okay. Great. Okay. So then number 7
is the start with the goal, the end in mind.
Start with the end in mind. Okay. All right. Number 6.
All right. We'll say number 6 is I get a lot of questions about like college funding and should we put away for the kids and things like that. And I'd say that, you put the parents first. And I'm not saying let's go into debt on things, but it's the whole comment on you put your mask on first on an airplane. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of someone else.
Yeah.
And so it's just keeping that in mind. So put your own mask on first would be the tip.
Sure. I like that. So, and here's the idea there. And it took me a second to wrap my brain around this too, Joe, and I'm not sure, you might've been the one that helped me with it, but this concept, it can be hard when you're a parent or when you're just thinking about other people in general, and you're like, oh, I want to save for this person. Well, imagine you've got this little savings account for somebody, and then emergency strikes, and what's going to happen? You're either going to spend that money anyway, or you're going to really like be punished in such a way that you might even like weirdly feel negative about the person you're saving money for. I mean, that could possibly happen. We could even get to a place where, let's say we save nothing, but we were financially secure. Then when time comes and we're going to school, yeah, do we wish we had a college account? Of course, but at least we're financially stable that we can help support and we can do different things. And now you're an adult, your life is your life. And as a parent, I want to help support you, but I didn't sacrifice my own like goals and end in mind because I was too focused on you, and I didn't focus on my own fundamentals first. So I think that's really, really wise advice.
Thanks.
Well, you're welcome.
All right. Number 6, we will say, is check your credit scores. I mean, that doesn't cost anything, but people will find, I think I heard a stat that was like 80% of credit reports have issues or errors. So I went on just recently. I do it once a year because it doesn't cost you anything and it doesn't affect you negatively. And I found out that a different roommate of ours, I'm somehow got his family's address on my credit report. I'm like, I've never lived in California. How would I have that? And so credit reports, make sure someone that isn't on there or an old debt or something that's not there. So credit scores are important.
And if you're married, check your wife's credit score as well, perhaps, yes. or your husband.
And your kids, actually, and kids, because there's a lot of fraud out there that people steal kids' social security numbers because you won't really notice it till they're 18.
Wow.
And so they can have a lot of issues that they get to without even ever knowing it.
So I did a refinance here when the rates dropped down through the floor, and so we went through that process. And to refinance or to buy a house and whatnot, to get a loan of the magnitude it takes to buy a house, it's a little different than sitting down with your mom for an ice cream truck. There are some different checks and balances that go into place. And so they dig into everything. They ask every question. They check every bank account. They check it again. They check it again. They check it again. So anyway, so one of the things obviously they do is they pull your credit score. Well, my credit score, thanks to Joe Laux and living with him and just kind of knowing a little bit about financial ideas, and he kind of helped me really early on with different habits. But my credit score is really, really good. So I'm in like the mid 8s to high 8s almost all the time. And Leanne was a different story. When we got married, her credit score was not that way. And so we've built it up. And so now she has a pretty decent score. So together we're actually pretty good. Well, they went to run the score, and then our loan officer was like, well, we're going to have to run this under just your income and not your wife's because, her credit. I was like, what? But that's because I didn't know, because I didn't check. I wasn't on checking the credit score. It turns out that there was a medical bill from something. It was like a pediatrician's office or something like that. It was literally like $15. $15. And for whatever reason, it got lost in the mail. We didn't see it. So my wife hadn't paid this thing. She's attached to our insurance as the first primary. So they went after her credit for $15. And it dinged her score, and it brought her down like 150 points to the point where she couldn't be on the loan. So we had to get that cleaned up. We did, and she's on there now, and it worked itself out. But that's how important this stuff is. Like a little tiny thing like that, or like Joe said, like he had somebody how are they even attached to me? Like you don't know how these things happen, but you empower yourself if you are willing to just go on there once a year and do sort of like a maintenance where you check your credit. So very good advice, Joe. All right, number next.
Number next.
I gave up because I think I was right about the 7 thing earlier or the 8 thing, and then we got mixed up. So I'm like,
all right. I'm keeping track now. It's okay. I got us back on track.
Okay, here we go.
All right, so number 5. All right, so this isn't a fun one, but it's a necessary one, is pay attention to risk management. So this would be your auto insurance, your home insurance, making sure you have an umbrella policy and the right life insurance and disability insurance, just all the things to protect what you've already worked so hard for.
Yeah.
And to protect your family on the what ifs it doesn't work out. And so I think that risk management, it's like I said, it's not, nobody likes to write an insurance premium check. Nobody does, or an EFT these days, but it's necessary. So
I'm sorry, what's an EFT? he just throws it around like everybody knows what my EFT.
I think it's an electronic funds transfer, or you pay for things electronically.
Oh, I see. Oh, I get you. I thought it was some kind of new insurance plan. I'm like, what am I not signed up for?
Let's have a talk.
Yeah, I can tell you that for me personally, this is for sure my worst favorite subject. And you guys, I don't think have even dealt with this yet, which you probably should at some point. But the idea of like, the problem is that someone sits you down. It's kind of like right before you go skydiving, which you and I we did that together, didn't we, Joe? We're so baller.
Sure did.
We're so baller, bro. Like for
Dying to do that. We gotta do that.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Joey's not gonna do it, but we're gonna do it,
dude.
No.
You should. Here's the thing. We're gonna go,
and I'm gonna watch you while you.
like a bunch of Sun Devils. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna skydive. We're gonna hold up, Jaden Daniels' picture on the way down.
Yeah.
That sounds great for you and Brian. I'll be sitting.
Joey's
in the
not gonna go.
stadium
I've tried this.
watching.
I fought this.
Okay, but it's like that, right? So there's certain activities you do. Skydiving's one of them, but there's a bunch of them where even like going rock climbing at a rock climbing gym. Basically, you sit down, they hand you a contract, and they highlight the part that's like, there's a chance you're gonna die.
If I die here, it's not our fault.
And they don't even word it nicely. They're like, when you die.
Yeah, right. No, I've read plenty of those.
Yeah. And you're like, I'm gonna sign that it's not your fault, but if the parachute doesn't open, isn't it your fault? Nope, not my fault. You just sign it right there. And so insurance can feel like that. Mm-hmm. Because you're going like, okay, I'm putting away money for other people for when I'm gone, when I die. And then I gotta deal with like looking at when Leanne dies or looking at whatever. And it can be very scary, and it can be something that just doesn't feel good. But the importance of it is, I think, just peace of mind in general. You have this idea, you go through that sort of pain. And it doesn't have to be that painful, too. Like, you can flip the script on it and turn it into a positive for yourself. So if you do that, that's even better. But let's say you just go through that process. Once it's there and it's on auto, and especially if you have somebody professional helping you manage it, then it's like, okay, you make more, you put a little more over there. You make more, you put a little more over there. But the idea being, like, all right, the goal here is if we set it up right, we don't have to think about it anymore because we know we're set up. Is that right, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely.
This was a
I think
great.
it's kind of like the short-term pain for the long-term benefit. So
Yeah.
This was a great time to have a financial guy on because this is super helpful.
Yeah.
I have to get car insurance like next week.
Yeah.
Hey.
This stinks, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna need a raise. Okay.
Well, I'd like to really quick throw off that on that last one because it is such a tough one and can be challenging. But as the like almost dead guy over here, like literally almost
Several
died
times, yeah.
several times.
You don't have a camera on you.
Did it die?
Yeah.
Hey, there I am.
Hey.
So it's super important. I've had to sign because this last couple times I went through, and basically with the coma, there were certain papers that weren't aligned, right? And it was 25, but it's like there are things afterwards I learned about the understanding of if something happened, like who has power over your life.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds like crazy to even think about because I was 25. I mean, like you're not thinking about that stuff when you're that age, but like it had this realization afterwards and rearranged this stuff that I'm like, I want somebody to make the decision on who's pulling the plug on my life.
Yeah.
And I know that's outside of finances here.
No, that's
but
a big deal.
They're all kind of connected.
Actually, that's one of the top one, and it's not on my list today, but that's a good point you bring up. Is like if we segued to like what are a couple legal documents you should have without me being an attorney here, it's having a will, having a directive for healthcare, which is what you're saying, and having a power of attorney. I mean, not having those things, I've seen that just ruin families and ruin finances of people. So it is a financial discussion, even though it's a legal document.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a big deal.
Good
Big
point.
deal. Okay, number 4, Joe Laux from Silverhawk Financial, silverhawkfinancial.com.
Number 4. Okay, so I'm going to say the word budgets, but I hate budgets. Okay. I hate budgets. I am not the type of advisor. And if anybody out there listening is an advisor, they may fight me on this one, but I am not the type of advisor that says, don't go buy Starbucks because you spent $3 on a cup of coffee. Now, okay, yes, there's excess. Don't go do that 3 or 4 times a day. But, if that's something that's important to you, that's not going to make or break whether you're okay. So I would say more of, when I say budgets, I mean more of track your money. Run your money like it's a business. And if you owned a pizza restaurant or an ice cream shop or an ice cream truck, at the end of the day, you should see how much money is in the till, not wait till next quarter and see what your bills are.
Yeah.
You should pay attention daily. So when I say budgets, it's just making sure that you're watching where your money is going rather than wondering where it went.
Yeah, I think a lot of people fall into this category, and we used to. And as a matter of fact, I probably still do sometimes where you it's so easy to get lazy in this area, and you start feeling good, you have some money in the bank, and then you stop tracking on the daily.
Yeah.
And then the problem is 6 months down the line happens. This is what it's been like for us. And my wife and I'll sit down and go, where'd all our money go? Like, how are we negative, right now? And then it's like, oh, we got to go back and realize that we stopped tracking. We forgot to keep doing the things fundamentally that set us up to feel safe. So because we forgot to do that, now all of a sudden we're back in the same uncomfortable place, and that stinks. That doesn't feel good. So yeah, I mean, it's like, spend when you want to, spend whatever you want to spend on, but hopefully make sure you're not spending to put yourself in the red. Would that be accurate there, Joe?
Yep. Pay attention to it.
Cool. All right, number 3.
Number 3, debt. Debt is a bad thing. Get rid of your debt. Now, that said, do I have debt? Yes, I have a mortgage, and debt is cheap right now, but only do it when you can afford it. Don't take yourself an over leverage. So, I think that getting rid of credit cards, if you've got a credit card, get rid of it tomorrow. I mean, pay it off. Now, I use credit cards, but I pay them 100% in full every month because I like the points. I like to get money back. But get rid of your debts and pay attention to debts, because interest rates can really hurt someone.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's like that. It's like that sneaky one where you feel healthy, you present yourself healthy, you go and have a diagnosis with someone, you're like, wow, this is great. Okay, now what are your debts? And it's like, oh, well, that's going to correct everything back in the other direction all of a sudden.
You
so
see what had happened was.
and speaking of fine print, going back to that idea of fine print, these credit cards and debt collectors, they have this fine print that's really scary. So they get you locked in at 0%. They say, oh, it's going to be, it's only 1% or this or that. But as soon as you miss a payment, it jumps up to like 29.9%, like something nuts. And then all of a sudden you're paying 29%, let's just say on $1,000, all of a sudden, if you don't make payment or you make minimum payment and you keep stacking up that interest, now you're paying interest on your interest. And this is the problem people get into, is eventually you can't even make the interest payment. So then you're stuck in this like hole that is almost impossible to get out of. So
and let's remember that's what they want.
Yeah,
that's they're gonna present it like a shiny thing in a sense. So especially I think to young people like Joey's age, especially in my age, that's where you got to be super careful. Like you're looking at something and it looks super shiny. It looks super, oh, really cool. Like I can just buy this and this and this and I'll just pay it off at this point, and it's scary stuff.
Yo, the second that I learned about credit cards in business class, I was like, nope, not getting one of those. I was like, I have my debit card.
See, Matt and I are old enough to still remember, because you guys are a little younger when it comes to this one, but the rules were a little different back in the day. So on college campuses or in the airport, they gave you a really nice free t-shirt to sign up for their credit card. And then all of a sudden, college kids have credit cards that they're like, well, I got a bunch of t-shirts, and they got nothing to show for it other than a bunch of bills that they're never going to get out of. So.
That's so messed up. That's so messed up.
Totally.
You go and put a credit card in the hands of people that aren't gonna use them right. That ain't cool.
Yep. And for a lot of kids, it either really ruined them when they came out of college and they were starting behind the 8 ball, so to speak, or these same people went after their parents, and their parents would bail them out. And again, that's just an uncomfortable family conversation that ends up having to happen that could have been avoided had you known Joe's list ahead of time. And now you know.
Just such a good list.
But the T-shirt, Mom. The T-shirt. Okay.
All right, Joe. We're getting up to number 2 here.
Number two. Save early, save often. And so what I mean here is you should be investing from the moment you start making money. This is one that I try to teach my 6-year-old is out of the money that you make, you should save some. And if you can get in that habit, and I'd say a good rule of thumb is about 20%. If you can save 20% of your income, you're going to be set. So, this goes into a bigger conversation about short-term, middle-term, long-term goals, but start early and start often. Just get in a habit, make it a bill that you're just going to continue to invest from the start, whether you're 18 or 85.
Love it. So save early, save often. And I think this goes back to the habit thing. If you can right away do it and create this habit, what happens is you just mentally, you create a system ideally where it auto comes out of your check. So in your mind, you never made that money in the first place.
True.
It's not yours. It's future your money. It's not present your money. And so you just say like, this is one of my bills. And in fact, one of my most important bills. And I'm going to pay myself first before I'm going to take out any other kind of bill where I'm now going to have to owe for my Apple Watch or my whatever else thing I want. I have to pay me first. Then I'll pay Apple for their Apple Watch.
Yeah. Matt made me do that for like a long time. It's finally settling.
You had to buy his Apple Watch?
No.
He's got to buy all the Apple Watches.
He pays interest on Matt's Apple Watch.
No, I did buy one of the Apple Watches in this room, and it's not on my wrist.
Oh, that's so nice, Joey.
No, but Matt told me that a long time ago. He was like, "All right, so here's what you're gonna make on your paycheck, and just so you know, you should take this much out, and I'm gonna pretty much tell you have to do it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." but that's why I got a new car on the way. So there you go.
Joey.
Boom. Big decisions.
Cool. All right, and the number 1 financial piece of advice.
Number 1.
Well, because of what you just said, it made me think of like a 1.2.
All right.
Oh,
He's got an extra.
Okay, hit it.
Because we got to remember to pay taxes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
So, and the reason I bring that up is there's so many people that are entrepreneurs or that are, independent contractors, or you get paid on 1099s. And because you don't get paid on a W-2, somebody's not doing what you just said. That's what made me think of it is your taxes are not automatically being withheld.
Right.
So you could be an actor, you could be a real estate agent, you could be a financial advisor. It doesn't matter. But if whatever you are, if you're paid on the version of like a 1099, which is a sole proprietorship or a self-employed, you got to make sure you set aside the money for the taxes. So that would be like where you put your first dollar is Uncle Sam, because he's your silent partner and you can't get rid of him.
Exactly. So. And it can be hard for people to wrap their mind around taxes, and I get that. I mean, it can be tough, and especially with like this sliding scale and all the different things that come in. And I remember when I got my very first paycheck, I was so excited. My mom loves telling this story. I don't know why. I was like, she really should have taught me versus making fun of me. But I get my first paycheck. It's from Barrow's Pizza, and I'm super pumped. I did the math. I knew exactly how much I was going to make. And I remember, and I came to my parents mad. Like, I storm in the room, and I'm like, who is FICA? And that's how I learned about taxes. And my parents just laughed at me. They didn't really explain. But now that I've done my own kind of research and work on this stuff, you realize that I actually, not only do I need to pay my taxes, and should I pay my taxes, I need to wrap my mind around I want to pay my taxes. I want to. Because you get to a place where, like, where does it go really? And yeah, is there, in the government some kind of corruption here and there? Of course. Like, of course, people are people. That is true. But also, so much good comes from, especially like this country is so amazing, and we've done so many transitions and whatnot. So you just think to yourself, if I'm going to go put the rest of my paycheck in the bank, if I'm going to before the auto thing from my phone happened, if I'm going to go drive down to the bank to put my deposit in, who created the road that gets me there? Mm-hmm. These taxes did. And without these taxes, I don't get there. And there's trash everywhere. But the government takes care of that. They take care of trimming the trees. They take care of fixing the lights. They take care of all the things you don't think about. And even like someone like Brian, like my very best friend in the world here, falls sick, falls ill, and he doesn't have the financial, and who does have the financial wherewithal to literally take care of yourself when the process is $1 million to save you, mm-hmm. and who pays for that? Our taxes do.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, I go, you know what? I'm going to pay happily with a smile on my face. Now I want to understand tax code so I don't overpay, but at the same time, like if I can change my mindset on taxes, I think that's a good thing. And so we pay that, yes, of course, obviously first, but you can also think of it differently. You can choose to make this a positive thing and realize that there's so much good that does come from your taxes, and so many things that you actually, all of us, get the privilege of using and having and doing because of our taxes, and we don't even think about it. Like if there's a fire, it's just going to get taken care of. Mm-hmm. If there's an emergency and my kids need to call the police, they can just do that. And we've already sort of prepaid for it. That's the idea.
Thank you for watching this segment, Tax Facts with Matt.
Yeah. Tax Facts.
Tax Facts.
Oh, I'm passionate about this, because I think there's so many things that get negative raps, and I don't want to go down the path because it'll become controversial, but there are different professions and different things that get a negative, attribute to them. And it's true, of course, there's negative people in every occupation. But if we focus on the good and we look for the good and we understand really the truth, that's, I think, where we have to focus our attention, and then more good will come. But if we allow ourselves to be, I don't know, just sort of bogged down by the negativity of this world and what other people are saying or feeling, then all of a sudden, like, it's going to become a really negative experience. So, I mean, even look at the pandemic. I mean, the way our country was able to react, as hard as this has been, it's amazing. It's amazing that we have set up an infrastructure that they were able to put a few dollars in everyone's pocket when we were hurting the most. I mean, I know for probably just about everybody out there who got any kind of a check in any way, whether you're a business owner or you're personal, or you got a month worth of free rent, whatever it was, it gave you that little sense of like, oh, thank you, it's gonna be okay, yeah. And like, wow, like we've set ourselves up, we've set up an infrastructure to be able to do that. That's incredible to me. And by the way, just one last note here, because I know I'm on this like tirade, but understand, people, your taxes are probably going to go up. It's okay. It's going to go up a little bit, probably a couple, like a little nudge. Why? Because we just paid everybody. We just took care of everybody during the pandemic. So don't be surprised by it. It's okay. Like when that happens, expect it to happen, plan for it to happen, and then know, like, remember all that good feeling that you had, or remember those people that needed it the most and they got taken care of? Well, now we're going to pay for it, because we are going to have to pay for it, of course. But when we do, we can do so gladly, or we can do so in a way that's negative, in a way that's hurtful, in a way that makes people not feel good. All right, that's my tirade on taxes, Joe.
All right. So tax corner with Matt. All right, number one is invest in yourself.
Boom.
And I think that's so important for anybody to invest in themselves for their craft and learn and continue to grow. And if you're worried about, should I take that extra class that the Deering Studio is putting on, and this isn't a shameless plug for you guys, but if it's, should I take that class? It's going to cost me a little extra money. I'd say yes, because it's investing in you and your talent. It's the same thing. I just went through a conference and it's like, oh my God, it was painful, but it's helping me to be a better advisor. And it's nothing that's going to show up on a resume or something that's going to show up that my clients are going to see. But if I can learn one little tip to help pass on to someone, it's all worth it. So I'd say number one, invest in yourself.
Thank you, Joe. I so agree with you, and I can say this goes across the board, right? So obviously, taking classes with us is an investment in you, an investment in yourself. No matter what your occupation, even if you're a financial advisor, you would gain so much from taking our program. I got to tell you, I would love to have Joe Laux in our program. As a matter of fact, I'm very excited to invite him into our improv class next month. Joe, congratulations, buddy. All right, Joe.
Oh man, you really threw him under.
Joe's going to be in the virtual acting class next month. He's going to love it. It's going to be a scholarship from me to you. You're going to have to take one class. I'm going to force you to do it. But beyond that, let's just say everybody, right? You want to invest in you, okay? Why do you want to do that thing? What's our why? Well, think about this. If you can go to life and death situation, okay, and I'm going to get my boy Brian, who's sick, and he needs like absolute the best of the best care, or he's going to die. I want the doctor who's been studying the latest technology, who's been training, who's been investing in themselves. I want that person. I'm going to hire that person, and I'm going to pay top dollar for that person, or the government. But that person is the one that's going to get that I'm going to pick, right? So then we switch over here to acting, and we go, okay, which actor do I want to hire? Do I want to hire the actor that was kind of good a year ago? Or do I want to hire the actor that was kind of good a year ago and has been training every day, every month, plugging away at their craft? I want that person that's got momentum. I want that person that's on the cutting edge of their craft. If I'm gonna work with a financial advisor, I want someone who just did take the painful workshop that was a full weekend long, who dedicated their time and energy, even if they knew most of the stuff already, to get that one little gem. Because if they can make my situation better and they're trying to better themselves, that's the person I want running my finances. So this goes across the board. It really doesn't matter who you are or what your occupation is. I love this advice, Joe, and I didn't know it was going to come as your number one thing for financial advice, but it's so true, because you're going to make more money long term by investing in you. I look at this as like investing in a stock when the stock is low. You know, when you invest in you, you're investing in this like ground floor thing that's going to be exponential over time. You won't see it right away, but you look backwards and you're like, man, if I didn't start investing in me 2 years ago, where would I be right now? What would I be making? Like, what position would I be in? And it's like completely transformative for you to go, okay, I got to invest in me. Dude, what awesome advice, bro.
Thank you. I think it's good for all of us.
You're smarter than you look. You know that? He's not just a pretty face, guys. I mean, here's the thing. Joe Laux has been, I don't know, is it all Joes that just look young? Because you still look 12. You know that.
I know.
So it's like
it's none of this. There's none of this.
Right. None of this, and also like, you know, the grays that I got coming in, you're avoiding those somehow. I don't know what's going on with you. You're aging backwards. It's got to be the bike riding, probably.
Probably.
Dude, this has been amazing. So much fun. I have had a blast talking to you about finances and taxes, because I love taxes. But no, it's just been a really, really good, informative episode. I really appreciate you coming on the show. I love you, dude. You're one of my best friends in the whole world, always. We don't talk as much as we should, but for real, I think about you all the time, and I love you, and especially with what you got going on this year, I want you to know, my heart is with you and your family, and we certainly care about you, and we really, really appreciate you taking the time to share your knowledge with our audience base today.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. It's been good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can find Joe Laux at Silverhawk Financial. That is www.silverhawkfinancial.com. Go check him out. If you need even just advice, like something for free, I'm going to send you to Joe, because he's going to take care of you. Just go down there and he'll give you some advice, put you on the right path. If there's a program for you, great. If not, I know Joe will definitely take care of you, because that's the kind of guy that he is. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. This has been Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio morning podcast. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel. Help us spread this light-driven content to the planet.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.